Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin, and more information was posted about rogues with devs answering questions from the community. These posts are originally posted by Blizzard Entertainment, and I'm going to talk about them because they are pertaining to rogues. I'll have a link for you because it's on MMO Champion, and if you play other classes, you might want to check them out as well. But today we're going to go over some of the things that Blizzard is hinting at in terms of rogues. I'll be covering all three specs and most importantly, combat rogues, or outlaw rogues. Let's get on to the video. There's going to be a new UI, first of all, for positional requirements, so rogues will know if they are behind an enemy, as the UI will show where the enemy is facing. So it'll be much easier for rogues, or at least an easier time for rogues to be able to figure out where the enemy's back is. We are going to be looking more at UI rather than the actual model, so that's going to be a different change, but at least it'll give us somewhat of a sense of where is their back at. So good thing Blizzard is, favoring rogues in that one. Backstab is going to have 30% increased damage, but from the back. The sides don't count, but backstab can be used on any side. But if you hit him from the back, it is going to be a definite 30% damage increase. Obvious sex joke. And I know they made backstab so it can technically stab from the sides, just so backstab can be more used in Draenor, but because of this UI change, they want to make sure to give backstab more of an oomph in terms of damage, because they will have you a way to see where the enemy's back is at. Nightblade will be shadow damage, which is the dot that the subtlety rogues will get. Subtlety rogues abilities are going to be a lot of shadow based abilities, so magical abilities are going to be a part of rogue or subtlety rogue, I guess, utility repertoire. Rupture is still going to be a bleed, which is going to be physical, but Nightblade is going to be a shadow based ability, and it's going to be a dot a lot like Rupture. Here's an interesting post. It asks what happens with Vendetta, which asks about Vendetta, but it hints us at something more. The blog focused about rotational abilities, Vendetta, Adrenaline Rush, and Shadow Blades are burst CDs for each spec reflectively. Now we know what cooldown subtlety rogues will get, which is Shadow Blades, and I'm liking this whole theme of shadow-based abilities because we have a Shadow Priest, and they do have shadow-based abilities, but nothing that actually takes the form of shadow. It's just a cool and unique thematic perspective, and I'm happy to hear that that's the cooldown that we'll be getting for subtlety rogues. One of the questions was, is anticipation going to be baseline? And anticipation is kind of a lackluster talent in terms of PvP. Literally the single most useless talent for PvP. I'd rather run Leeching Poison than run Anticipation. God. That's the one that allows you to stack combo points past 5 combo points, and they'll apply to enemy target once you use a finisher. What Blizzard said is Anticipation still remains a talent, however it has some serious competition in the talent rogue. So hopefully Anticipation will be put in a better spot for rogues where it actually looks viable in terms of grabbing it for PvP. Imagine running Anticipation and Mark for Death. It'll be much easier to generate combo points and stack them up, so the lineup for damage is going to be pretty awesome if that is true. There was a question about pistol shot animation, and Blizzard is going to be looking at feedback for animation once the beta begins, but the animation is supposed to be pretty quick, but there is an animation of the rogue pulling out a pistol, shooting an enemy, and then putting the pistol back, something of that sort. Another big update, a pretty cool one, and a pretty big game changer. Outlaw rogues will have a ranged stun. That's right, the pistol shot kind of stun is going to be replacing kidney shot. So you'll be able to stun your enemies at range for full duration of a kidney shot. So that's going to give some more, interesting playability for outlaw rogues alone, while other rogues will have a melee stun. There's a question about Shadow Strike, and why is it called Shadow Strike and not Ghost Strike? Shadow Strike being an ability for subtlety rogues to teleport to a target and then hit them for shadow damage or ambush based damage. And what Blizzard have responded to this, because Ghost Strike is going to be a talent for outlaw rogues, and I have Ghost Strike right here, Ghostly Strike. Back in vanilla, the ability used to be a strike that deals 110% of weapon damage and increases your chance to dodge by 15% for 7 seconds. 20-second cooldown. I don't know if they're going to bring back the exact flavor text, but Shadow Strike, given a little bit more of a defensive play for combat rogues, would be an interesting, and chances are it might be an offensive ability. So an ability that deals weapon damage at a cooldown and does something awesome. I'm excited, and pretty sure everybody from back in vanilla would be pretty excited about this kind of addition back into the game. Is Hemorrhage still thinking of sub-rogues? And they said Hemorrhage might become a talent in the future as they are planning out little talents, and I'll try to see if it'll fit into the playstyle. But it is a bleed, and the only spec that will really be all about bleeds is assassination, bleeds and poisons. Find Weakness is being removed on top of it, with Shadow Dance being something of a passive and not a cooldown. Find Weakness is no longer a mechanic that's going to be necessary for subtlety rogues. That does not mean they are nerfing subtlety rogues, but they said it's not necessary in terms of damage. That means with the mechanic of Shadow Dance that they have in Legion, apparently they're supposed to be able to deal as much damage as they do right now, and Find Weakness was only something to be added onto and accustomed to the playstyle of Shadow Dance as a cooldown. So basically, getting rid of Find Weakness, but not getting rid of any damage that Subtlety Rogues can deal currently. Does Shadow Strike have a cooldown, the ability that allows Subtlety Rogues to teleport around targets and deal ambush-based damage? The answer is no, and they basically want Subtlety Rogues to be able to teleport around battlefield, probably at a certain energy cost, but that is very much exciting and interesting. A concern was expressed about Assassination Rogues having no fun new mechanic or ability being added in the game, like maybe a poison vial bomb or maybe some more poison based abilities. But Blizzard did say in a blue post that Assassination does have an ability that throws a poisoned dagger at your enemy, applying a poison at range. My question is will there be other poisons that will apply different play mechanics? Are we going to see a return of paralytic poison back, or any other poison that has another deliberating effect besides just dealing damage or slowing your enemy down? Which is a possibility, and Blizzard definitely can play around with it, because Assassination will again be the only spec that utilizes poisons in their playstyle. They have also mentioned that all three specs of rogues will have viable AoE and competitive AoE playstyles. So in a raid, you won't have to swap to combat just to get the cleave damage and wipe down the mobs, and then swap back to Assassination or Subtlety for single target damage. This is also great for PvP, because as a combat rogue, currently as a combat rogue, there have been moments where I'm just standing around and I wish I could just Phantom Knives to see if I can get stealthies out, but I don't have it, so it'll be interesting to get some kind of a actual decent AoE that I can apply whenever I need to as an Outlaw rogue in the future. Another fun one as the last one, all rogues are getting new finisher animations, but I'm not sure if every finisher is going to have the same animation, because I know Subtlety has an Eviscerate, Assassination has an Envenom, and Outlaw rogues have a Lunge attack. So I'm wondering if all three of them are going to have a new animation for all three of them, but same new animation, or is each one of them is going to have a whole new animation for each one of them. So that is exciting, but that is all the rogue news that I have for you guys today. I really want to see all this come to fruition. I just want to see what this all looks like. Beta can't come any sooner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys are excited about the Outlaw hype as well as the overall rogue hype. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.